I hope you came after watching our full review of the Galaxy Note 20 Ultra, but if you haven't, make sure to go check that out. Also, we are doing a comparison video with Note 20 Ultra and iPhone 11 Pro Max, so if you want to see the comparison between sample images of the two, you can go there. Let me start by telling you that the Samsung Galaxy Note 20 Ultra didn't score good on DxoMark, which is one of the most trusted and popular camera testing websites around the world. Since we do not have that kind of equipment to go into minor details and criticize it, I'll only be reviewing the camera of this device from a normal mobile photographer's perspective. Now let us cut right to the chase and start today's detailed camera review of the Samsung Galaxy Note 20 Ultra. The phone has a triple rear camera setup while a single selfie sensor lies on the top mid punch hole of the display. The rectangular camera module is similar but slightly different to the S20 Ultra. There is no 100x space zoom branding here, so the module is elongated. And I don't know why, but the camera bump is 0.4mm thicker than on the Samsung S20 Ultra. TOF sensor from S20 Ultra has been ditched here. All three rear sensors are surrounded by glossy circular rings that blend in with the phone's color finish. The LED flash lies on the right side of the topmost sensor, and there is a laser below it to assist in autofocus. Personally, I like the overall design of the camera module here. The primary sensor is the same 108MP f1.8 Nona cell sensor seen on the S20 Ultra, which does Nona pixel binning to output 12MP images. It has optical image stabilization and face detection autofocus assisted by laser for close-ups. The ultra-wide angle is also the same as S20s, that is 12MP sensor with f2.2 aperture and 120° field of view. I was confused to find no autofocus on the ultra-wide. The main change from S20 Ultra is the telephoto lens here. It has a 12MP f3.0 120mm equivalent sensor with optical image stabilization and face detection autofocus. It has 5x optical zoom and 50x hybrid zoom. The selfie sensor is also different from S20 Ultra's 40MP, as it has a regular 10MP selfie sensor found on the S20s. It is a 26mm equivalent f2.2 sensor with dual pixel autofocus. Though Samsung's default camera app is much refined than before, Samsung Galaxy Note 20 Ultra has a lot of settings that may be difficult to find for some people. So I'm going to do a full walkthrough of the entire app alongside the judging of sample images. The basics are similar to other camera apps. Swipe left or right to switch between capture modes and pinch to zoom. Vertical swipes will toggle between the rear and front camera. When you open the camera app, you'll land on the photo mode, and there are only two more modes added to the tray by default. From the More tab, you can add and rearrange other modes on the tray as per your choice. In photo mode, you can duplicate and move the shutter button anywhere on the screen so that you can easily reach it with your hand. Let us start with the camera settings. On the top left, you have the camera setting icon, and the same window will open up no matter which mode you tap it from. Scene Optimizer turned on means that the AI will do its work to optimize the shots you take, but I prefer to keep it turned off and do my own edits. Short suggestions are useful but not in all situations, so I keep them off. Here's a preview of what it does. Smart Selfie Angle option chooses the best focal length out of the two for the selfie sensor as per the number of people in the frame. With this next option, you can choose what to do with your shutter button swipe. Let me show you what it means. This is a burst shot. This is a GIF. Save options for your pictures are quite important. Even though HEIF pictures save space on a Samsung device, you can have problems when editing or sharing it later on various platforms. So make sure to turn it off, as 256GB storage on your phone is more than enough. RAW images provide more post-editing headroom, so turn this option on for Pro mode only. Always turn this last option on to let the AI fix any distortion on your ultra-wide images, and don't worry, it does a great job. For videos, there are a number of options to choose from. You'll definitely like the 24fps option on the Pro mode if you are a professional videographer. In advanced recording options, don't take the high efficiency and HDR10+ mode, as they have compatibility issues on various platforms. Zoom in mic options should be ticked, as it is quite useful when multiple people are in a video at different distances. Video stabilization and auto-HDR options should be left turned on for better output. You can also choose the color temperature for your selfies from Selfie Tone. In our comparison video, you can see that iPhone has warmer tones as compared to Samsung normally. Tracking autofocus is useful if you can't manually focus on a moving object, though it is not that accurate. Turn pictures as previewed on, as I have noticed the facial structure looking ugly to our perception when it is turned off. Grid lines is something that you should learn for better taking pictures. I don't advise leaving location tags on as it requires GPS, which consumes more battery. The remaining are some versatility options, as you can see, and use per your choice, but I like to leave them off. In photo mode, the three icons let you switch between the three focal length of the rear sensors by just a simple tap. The top panel has flash controls, timer, aspect ratio, along with 108MP mode, motion photo, and filters. You can let the AI try creating a filter for you from any photo you liked on the internet. As you can see, the images from the main sensor has that Samsung look with slightly warmer temperature and saturation. The details are crisp and good lighting, and the 108MP cropped image proves that to be even more true. With zero noise in daylight, the color reproduction and exposure along with dynamic range also seem good. The software processing has come a long way, as the sharpness on grass and artifacts seem more natural now. The best thing that came with iPhone 11 was the consistency of colors between its wide lens and the ultra-wide lens, and the seamless transition between them. The Note 20 Ultra also retains it. Even though the details from the ultra-wide are not that good, distortion correction and dynamic range has been much more improved. For selfies, the overall quality is okay, but I don't like the wide and zoom toggle for a single sensor. The selfie portraits aren't as good as the rear camera, with small mistakes in subject isolation, but they are perfectly worthy for a flagship smartphone. In low light, the shots are worthy of a flagship smartphone, though I had some focus issues with the main sensor. In live focus mode, there are flash, timer, aspect ratio, and skin smoothness controls on the top. The bottom left has different kinds of background effect you can apply to your portrait. You can also change the background effect after you have taken the image. The two tree icons refer to 1x and 2x zoom from the main sensor. The 2x is better for close-up portraits and 1x to show more background. The default 5:7 background blur intensity seems to give the most natural blur. The subject isolation is perfect with perfectly exposed faces, and HDR provides a good dynamic range with no blown out skies in the background. Overall, I think this is the best portrait mode I have seen on a flagship device, and it even works for non-human subjects perfectly. You can see that night mode is supported from ultra-wide to 10x periscope zoom. There is no 108MP mode support in the aspect ratio section, and other controls are gone as well. The software sets the long exposure time itself depending on the amount of light the particular sensor is reading. It can be seen on the bottom right. Night mode drastically improves the exposure, highlights from darker areas, and removes noise. The same goes for night mode selfies as well, so I highly recommend you to use it. Food mode has some extra features like radial blur and color temperature slider to aid in bringing out the popping colors of your food. Panorama mode has vertical and horizontal panorama support for both ultra-wide and main lens. You cannot zoom in or out in this mode. The Pro mode has basic controls along with metering option on the top, while the bottom tray has controls for ISO, shutter speed, focus, and white balance, along with EV display to help you nail that exposure. The last option lets you easily control your tint, contrast, saturation, highlight, and shadow before even shooting the picture. Pro mode works from 1x to 10x with pinch zoom. Video mode has similar layout to photo mode with ultra steady and AR doodle options added on the top tray. The AR doodle is quite fun to use. The video supports up to 20x zoom and not 50x. All 4 camera sensors on this phone support up to 4K 30fps, so all our video samples were taken at 4K 30fps and downscaled to 1080p for YouTube. Even though a good default stabilization is available on all modes, including 8K 24fps, with ultra steady mode on, the stabilization becomes insane. The HDR10 Plus is also supported on all resolutions, but 8K has no tracking autofocus and is only available at 24fps. 8K video results in a fixed 1.5x zoom, ensuring that only the center of the sensor captures the utmost details. If you are a professional videographer, you'll obviously enjoy the more details from the 8K video. The 1:1 aspect ratio, mainly suitable for Instagram, has a resolution of 1440p. Another thing to note here is that the ultra-wide lens has a fixed infinity focus, which is a great downside, at least for me. Talking about the video quality, 8K is just not ready for normal consumers like us. And 4K video has enough details, good dynamic range, extra warmth and saturation to pop out colors, and barely any noise in daylight. Ultra-wide 4K has some noise and is not as sharp as the main sensor. So I found that 1080p was better for ultra-wide. The selfie videos are great in daylight with good exposure even under direct sunlight due to auto-HDR. Also, here's an audio sample from the stereo-supported microphone along with the selfie video. This is a sample selfie video from the Samsung Galaxy Note 20 Ultra. This is how it looks in anti-light. With all the background noise going on, this is how it sounds. Live focus video mode has flash and skin smoothness controls. Unlike live focus mode, for videos you cannot change the background effect after shooting, so make sure you take note of that. Also, live focus video from both the main and selfie sensor have fixed focal length and 1080p 30fps resolution, so don't expect much details and versatility in them. The subject isolation has improved a lot than previous generations, but it works great only on ample lighting. The quality is maintained as in the videos taken normally without live focus. Overall, it's a fun feature to use. Even though all hyperlapses are taken in 1080p 30fps only, there is ultra steady mode for better stabilization and night mode for shooting light trails with long exposure. The speed option provides suitable suggestions for each speed. Here are some samples. The Pro video mode is only supported by the main sensor. It has extra aspect ratio of 21:9 for all resolutions and 24fps option for resolutions other than 8K as well. There is a histogram on the top right and audio levels of left and right channel microphones on the top left for the professionals who can fully utilize it. Other features in Pro mode include directional microphone options with support for external USB or Bluetooth device recording, iOS, aperture, EV value, white balance and zoom speed controls, along with manual focus slider and pre-edit options. I think I have covered everything the cameras on this phone have to offer. Oh, I nearly forgot. There is AR support as well via AR Drone app from Samsung. You can create your own 3D character and insert them in videos and photos, and even while messaging on various platforms. There are other fun and useful AR features as well, like quick measure, AR emojis, and AR doodle, which I demonstrated before. In conclusion, Samsung Galaxy Note 20 Ultra has one of the best and versatile cameras of 2020, especially its Pro mode and its image processing makes it stand out a lot. From a normal user's perspective, the DxoMark ranking doesn't make much sense, as the only downside for me was the lack of autofocus in the ultra-wide. But for the expensive price tag that it bears, the cameras are not the only selling point of this phone. If you are only into cameras, go get the latest Google Pixel 5, which will obviously blow all other smartphone cameras out of the water in terms of picture quality. Also, it comes at half the price of Note 20 Ultra. Now I hope you enjoyed our first fully detailed camera review of a smartphone on our channel. If you have any queries, feel free to comment down below. Until next time, I wish you good days ahead.